I knew all along that my career of choice was always going to be something involving helping people. I started out at a very early age in the service industry, where I helped the teachers at school with other kids. I then moved into the cosmetology industry, where I started to cut my Barbie doll's hair. I gave them pierced ears and wonderful glamour makeovers with my mother's blue eyeshadow. I then moved on from there into cutting the neighborhood kids' hair, and I gave my little brother his first dynamic bowl cut with feathered Farrah Fawcett sides. Oh yeah. Now, as I'm talking to you about the things that I wanted to do when I was little, Emily, you're not getting up here. No, I'm just kidding. She'll dance for you. As I'm talking about what I wanted to do when I grew up, what are some, you guys are probably thinking about things that you wanted to do. What are some examples of some things that you wanted to do when you grew up? Come on.
Be a pilot.
A pilot?
Teacher.
Teacher? Yell it out. Come on, don't be shy.
Professional athlete.
Professional athlete. All right. Well, I've been a hairdresser now for over 30 years in the forever changing beauty industry. I truly believe that working with my clients through all these years has helped molded me into the person that I am today. I also believe that working with people 30 years behind the chair and all their trials, that I have gained 30 years of experience, clinical experience that is, and I now can consider myself a psychologist. I mean, isn't that why they call hairstylist therapist, or I'm going to see my counselor, to get that extra advice that you just need to get you through the day? I've also seen, working with people, that there's a need for guidance or direction in life. And I've honed in my listening skills by working with people. And through that, I decided to become a certified life coach. Now, I'm the type of person who never wants to be stagnant. Is there anyone here like that? Okay. I cannot sit still. I have so much energy and excitement and enthusiasm for life. And I can do all this without any caffeine. Now, some of you might be looking at me going, okay, this girl's a little, and I might be. I might be a little, ADHD or something, but I really feel that in life I've learned how to channel my energy and use it for good. I feel like I never want to stop learning, growing, meeting new people, and experiencing new things in life. And that's what the two careers have been so wonderful doing. But have you ever had that feeling that you're not quite sure that you're doing what you should be doing? You feel like inside that there's more out there. Has anybody ever had that feeling? Okay. Well, when you feel that way, some people meditate. And some people talk to their friends, go for walks and talk it out. Some people make lists and write things out. And some people just eat chocolate and say, I'll deal with my life tomorrow. But when I feel that way, I go to God in prayer. And I prayed to him, what do you think I should do? I need guidance. And he told me that I needed to plant seeds. Okay, plant seeds. Can you give me some more information here? Nothing. So I'm the type of person that tends to take things literally. And I went out and I got my Master Gardener certificate. Yep. And then I came home, and I ripped my yard up. I put in 6 more perennial beds with my already 4 existing perennial beds, an underground sprinkler system with 13 zones. I had tricklers, I had sprayers, I had towers, I had misters. I had a garden with a trail path through it, a bench, gazing balls. an iris garden, a wildflower garden. I was planting seeds. Or was I? Now, I never said I was smart. Even though I did graduate with a 3.85, I have to admit though, in underwater basket weaving. I didn't really get what God was telling me until one hot summer afternoon. About 3.5 years into gardening, I was diligently digging up the soil, and I had the biggest life coaching aha moment. You know the one where you go, duh, the light bulb goes off, smoke. You're like, oh my gosh, really? And what I came up with is gardens are like life. Now, some of you are looking at me like, okay, this girl's really lost it now. But bear with me. Don't you agree that life is forever changing? Everything you do is new choices, challenges, decisions, as much or as little as you want. Sometimes it's completely out of our control. But when we start out, we have this idea of how our garden of life is going to look. I mean, we leave our parents' house and we have everything all planned out exactly the way it's going to go, right? How many of you had your garden of life all planned out? And how many of those gardens turned out exactly the way you planned? I didn't think so, but you know what? It's okay. Because coming from a master gardener's perspective, there is no two gardens alike or life. So you can all take a deep breath and go, phew. So how do gardens in life really compare? Well, each one of them, we have a plan, we have an idea, we have decisions to make, and then we research. We figure out what we want to do, what we want to plant in our garden, or where we want to go in our lives. And then some of us plant everything with extreme thought and precision. Every little seed is neatly planted in our life. And other of us do a little research, and then we plant, and then we might do a little more research, and we plant some more. And that's okay. And then others of us just whimsically throw the seeds wherever it may go, and just kind of go with it, because that's my life. I don't care, whatever. Now, there's nothing wrong with any of these ways in our garden or in our life. It's just what path you want to go on. And there's nothing that you can't change along the way. You might think you want it perfect and start out there, and then you say, yeah, forget it. I'm just going to go with it, and you whimsically throw. It's really okay. It's just where you want to go in your life, in your garden. And this is a time in our lives where everything is new. We leave our parents' nurturing gardens, and we get out on our own, and we start planting seeds in where we want to go to school or what career we want to go to. Or we plant seeds in where we want to live and who we want in our circle of friends. And this is a time in our life in our garden where it's exciting, because everything is new. And as we go farther down the pathway, all that hard work in our lives begins to take shape in our garden. We see that all the research, all the energy, all the planning that we put into our garden and our life starts to come together. This is a time in our life where we might get married, have children. We protect them, nurture them, and watch them grow. It's also a time in our life where we might not plant many seeds. Sometimes we're just happy to survive through the day. It's also a time when we should look back and reflect and see if we're still on the right path. And then look to the future and see if we need to change things up a little. As we go a little further down the path, our gardens are growing and they're flourishing. And some plants are growing so large that we have to divide them or move them. And other plants need to be moved out of our garden and got rid of. And maybe we want to downsize our garden because we're tired of planting these seeds in this area. And maybe our thoughts or ideas and what we want to do in life have changed, and we want to plant seeds in other areas of our life. This is a time in our life, excuse me, where we decide we might have a major change, like we might move or change a career, or our children might go out on their own. It's a time where we just need to move forward and look back, and maybe we want to help our family in some way and help them plant their seeds versus our own self. We just want to move away from all that a little bit, step back from gardening. In our life, now, I never said gardens were easy. Some perennials in our gardens come up every year. Happy to see you. And those perennials need little time and little care, but they're always there. And then we have the perennials in our garden that are very delicate, and they need extra attention to take care of and to nurture. And it's the same for our relationships in our lives. We have some of our friends that you can just call up and say, hey, I need you, and they're there. But other than that, you don't really see them a lot. And then we have friends or people in our relationships where they need our attention all the time to nurture them and to keep them growing and to be there for them all the time. Experience, we are driving down the road and you've got 10,000 things going on, all those commitments just rolling in your head, rolling. And you're late. You're not paying attention to the odometer. You're just on a mission. You gotta get there and you gotta get there now. And the tire hits the edge of the road. And for a minute, your life flashes in front of you. And I say, by the grace of God, you make it back onto the road. You don't even know how. I mean, you're just off the road and you're like scared to death and you're back on the road. And I don't know about you, but that's happened to me before. And I have to pull over because it brings me right down to the bottom, to that time where you think, okay, that's a warning. Someone is telling you that you need to slow down, that your life is too overcommitted, that you need to learn how to say no. We need to think about our lives. Our life can be taken away from us this quick, the tire going off the road. What's one thing when you leave here today, or two, that you can take out of your life that is not really that important, that you said in a minute when you answered that phone and said, sure, I'll do that, and you don't really want to do it. It's not really in your heart. Take that one thing and fill it with time with your family instead, or do something with the friend that you haven't seen for a while. Watch a sunset and let your life happen and not let that crazy, over-committed schedule get in your way. Thank you.